Why did Napoleon fight so many wars? A clear, modern explanation for today's audience. When we talk about European history, Napoleon is a name you simply cannot avoid. But a surprisingly basic question is often misunderstood. Why did he keep fighting war after war? Did he actually want to unify Europe? If you look at a map of Europe after the French Revolution, you'll notice something important. Napoleon's wars were not just the result of one man's personal ambition. They were the product of a massive geopolitical machine that all of Europe helped create, and Napoleon just happened to be the man sitting in the driver's seat. One from reluctant defender to relentless combatant. France was dragged into war. In 1789, the French Revolution toppled the monarchy. This shocked every royal court in Europe. Austria and Prussia were the first to declare, "We must stop the revolution from spreading." Britain joined soon after. Russia, Spain, the Dutch Republic, and eventually almost all of Europe followed. This meant France wasn't choosing war. France was forced into a continental conflict merely to survive. But once the war began, something changed. The machine could no longer stop. The revolutionary government needed victories to stay legitimate. They needed territory for resources. They needed soldiers to keep the army full. War became France's default mode. And it was in this constantly expanding war machine that Napoleon appeared. 2. Napoleon's rise. He literally could not stop fighting. In 1793, Napoleon was an obscure young artillery officer. Then came his sudden rise. Toulon, Italy, Egypt. His victories turned him into one of France's brightest military stars. For a man who wasn't born into power, who had no noble blood and no inherited influence, victory was the only currency that mattered. If Napoleon stopped winning, he would lose power. If he lost a major battle, he would fall. The logic of his life became brutally simple. He had to fight. He had to win. There was no off-ramp. This was Napoleon's personal survival equation. 3. Victory became a trap. France needed expansion to survive. Post-revolution France was financially broken. But during wartime, victory itself produced income. Taxation in Italy. Contributions from German states. Satellite republics in Switzerland and the Netherlands. Armies living off enemy territory. War effectively became France's economic engine. For France, if you stop expanding, you collapse. If you stop winning, you get surrounded. If you pause, you die. What started as defense turned into structural expansion. And Napoleon became the man steering this runaway system. 4. Did Napoleon really want to unify Europe? Modern audiences love the idea of Napoleon the European unifier. But that's not accurate. He wasn't trying to create a single European country. He wasn't dreaming of one giant French superstate. What he actually wanted was a Europe organized under French leadership. A kind of French-style European Union 2 centuries early. His model looked like this. France as the dominant power. Surrounding buffer states turned into satellite kingdoms. His brothers and marshals placed on European thrones. A shared economic system aligned with Paris. Britain isolated through economic pressure. This wasn't just ambition. It was his version of rebuilding a new European order after the chaos of the Revolution. 5. Why didn't he stop? The Napoleonic trap. Historians often describe a pattern known as the Napoleonic trap. 1. He defeats Austria, Prussia feels threatened. 2. He defeats Prussia, Russia feels threatened. 3. He defeats Russia, Britain throws everything at him. 4. The stronger France becomes, the more united Europe becomes against it. 5. Every victory creates the next war. Each success forced him to expand further. Each expansion produced a new enemy. The system kept generating conflict. This wasn't Napoleon choosing war. It was the entire European balance of power pushing him forward. 6. Britain, the final opponent. On land, Napoleon had no equal, but Britain possessed the world's strongest navy, the world's most profitable empire, the world's most advanced financial system. As long as Britain stood, Napoleon could never dominate Europe. So he created the continental system, an economic blockade meant to strangle British trade. But this move backfired. Portugal refused, he invaded. Spain resisted, he invaded. Russia ignored the blockade, he invaded. The disastrous 1812 invasion of Russia shattered his power. After the retreat from Moscow, every European state rose up against France. The machine finally collapsed. 7. Final analysis. Napoleon's wars were not pure ambition. They were the cost of an era. If we must name the core reason behind Napoleon's endless wars, it's not conquest, not unity, not megalomania. It's survival. Revolutionary France needed war to survive. Napoleon's political power needed victory to survive. Europe's monarchies needed war to contain France. Fear on one side produced fear on the other, creating an unstoppable chain reaction. Napoleon wasn't just a conqueror. He was a man caught inside a continental machine, one that pushed him faster than he could control. By the time he realized where the war chariot was heading, it was already too late.